Twitter's significance for detecting breaking stories has been well established by numerous studies as early as 2010. There was one study by the University of Edinburgh in 2013 that showed that Twitter beat mainstream media to breaking events along various topics. And another Japanese research found that tweets about earthquakes often beat the seismic indicators reporting events.
China?
Japan, Japanese. So one would expect, given Twitter's speed and coverage, real-time news detection tools would be in widespread use by the public and especially news agencies. And the reality is, despite some investments in some social media monitoring desks, Twitter's news detection is relatively limited compared to its potential. And after talking with our journalists, we came up with three main reasons why. First, the sheer volume of tweets that are posted. On a given day, there's on average about 500 million tweets posted in different languages. Even after we created a filtered stream using a curated set of 400 keywords, we still were only able to limit it to perhaps about 400 tweets per day, which is still way more than any one person can really manage. The second problem concerns the signal-to-noise ratio. Imagine you're a journalist and you're interested in monitoring terror attacks. You might use a Twitter social media monitoring tool like TweetDeck and create a channel for terror attacks, and you might choose keywords that you think a person might use to describe that attack in a tweet. Terror, attack, explosion, bomb. But you're going to find that you're faced with really two main challenges. First, you might miss the earliest indicators because you didn't pick the right words. Someone might, for example, use the word blast to describe the explosion instead of the word explosion. Or they might use entirely descriptive terms like, I just heard a loud boom. Second, you're going to find all sorts of people using your words in irrelevant capacities. For example, someone might say, I had a blast at a rock concert. So these two problems make it really difficult to sift through the noise and find the relevant events. Lastly, it's no secret that Twitter is vulnerable to the spread of misinformation and unreliable stories. Take a look at the headlines. So we thought about this, and we came up with like three main types of misinformation that you can find on Twitter. The first is the typical viral story, whose intention is just to garner click-throughs. For example, celebrity death hoaxes or other clickbait stories. Then there's this whole fake news phenomenon, which is somewhat related to political partisanship and the spread of misinformation. And occasionally, reliable Twitter accounts are used to spread misinformation. In other words, they get hacked or otherwise gamed. For example, in 2015, AP Twitter account was hacked, and a false story was posted about an attack on the White House. The immediate result of this, of course, is the stock market plunged momentarily, and everyone was obviously very concerned. So the first category of misinformation, the viral stories, turns out that's very prominent in social media and fairly easy to detect. The other two categories are a little more challenging to find, but we found that, or we thought that if we could identify the first set and kind of help remove those, it would give the journalist more time to focus on the latter two, which were a little more difficult.